Hey guys, how's it going? This is Javier Roman. So I'm gonna start doing like devotionals every now and then. I'm gonna upload them to YouTube and Facebook. So this is actually my first one, and it's actually gonna be on humility. Topic that God really put in my heart, and I want to speak on it. So I'm gonna be using Philippians 2:5. So it goes like this: "Let this mind be in you, which was also in Christ Jesus, who being in the form of God, thought it not robbery to be equal with God, but made himself of no reputation, and took upon him the form of a servant, and was made in the likeness of men. And being found in fashion as a man, he humbled himself and became obedient unto death, even the death of the cross." So today I want to talk about one of Jesus's perfect characteristics. You see, when Jesus came down, he came not only to save us at Calvary, but he came to serve as a living example on how we should model our lives after. Ephesians 5:1 says, "Therefore, be imitators of God as beloved children." So we need to strive to be more like Christ in our daily lives. And today I want to focus on his humility. You see, when God manifested in flesh, he could have came as a 100-foot giant if he wanted to. I mean, Jesus knew what kind of technology we'd have in the future. When he went to Jerusalem on a donkey, I mean, he could have easily put a Ferrari there and rode up in style with casting crowns and the CD player with the 15s in the trunk. But no, God chose to make himself of no reputation. God chose to be made a servant in the form of man. God chose to suffer the painful death at the cross. That is what you call perfect humility. If someone were to give you the choice of whether you wanted to go to work tomorrow on a donkey or on a Ferrari or in a Ferrari, I'm willing to bet most of you would say the Ferrari. You see, and as far as how we as humans can be humble, I think Paul really hit the nail on the head in 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verses 9 and 10. He's talking to the church of Corinth about what Jesus had told him. "But he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness." And then Paul goes on to say, "Therefore I will boast all the more gladly about my weaknesses, so that Christ's power may rest on me. That is why for Christ's sake I will delight in weakness, in insults, in hardships, in persecutions, in difficulties. For when I am weak, then I am strong." And I want to focus on that last sentence, "For when I am weak, then I am strong." To the average person, it sounds contradictory. How can one be strong when they are weak? But you see, Paul, he is humbling himself to the point where he took zero credit for anything other than his weakness. He is saying, when I am weak, God will come down and strengthen me. And he actually said this in Philippians 4:13. He says, "I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me." You see, it's only by acknowledging our own weaknesses that we can realize our need for God. God can't come and strengthen us if we think we are okay on our own, or if we think we are self-sufficient and we don't need anything. How is God going to come down and strengthen us? We need to realize that we are nothing without God. And it is only then that he will come and strengthen us. And that's the whole point that Jesus was trying to tell Paul, was only in your weakness is my power made perfect. So, and Jesus also said it is not the healthy that need a doctor, but the sick. And we are all sick, but are you humble enough to acknowledge that is the question. So today, I came to acknowledge my own weaknesses. Before finding God, my three biggest issues were I suffered from depression, anxiety, and I felt like my life had no purpose. I tried to cover it up with a smile. I tried to tell myself everything will be okay. And I hoped that one day I would actually start believing my own lie. But it wasn't. It never got okay. It never got better. But once I acknowledged the fact that I was weak, and I came to grips with the fact that I couldn't do it on my own, that's when I decided to start living for Jesus. And when you're living for Jesus, I'll tell you what, there's no reason to be depressed. When you let God direct your life and you let him steer the steering wheel to your life, there's no reason for you to be anxious or have worries or have pressure, because he takes those off of you and he puts them on himself. And I'll tell you what, when you live for Jesus, you have a purpose. I know I'm not some animal or some kind of coincidence. I was made in the likeness of God. I have a path that has been laid out for me. I have a purpose, and I give all the glory to Him for that, because I know I did not do it on my own. So if those of you who are in doubt if they have ever witnessed a miracle, all I have to say is walk into your local church and look around. We are all living, walking miracles of God. For even in our weakness, He not only saved us, but He changed us. So in closing, I pray that we not boast in our strengths, for it is not our strengths, it is God who strengthens us. And we should give Him the glory for anything that we do. I pray that we boast in our weakness, because only in acknowledging our weakness can we see that we need God in our lives. So by humbling ourselves to the point where we boast in our weakness instead of our strengths, the glory will go to God and only God. And the extent of His power will be shown and His perfection manifested in our testimonies. Thank you for listening, and please check back. Godspeed.